Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about failure. In terms of my experiences, the memories that I hold, or certainly the memories that I received in relatively short order through my late teens and my early 20s, were associated with sharp peaks and then dramatic drops. And in reflection, I remember more associated with the dramatic drops and took more life experience from those elements to make sure, if at all possible, if humanly possible, I would not put myself back in those circumstances ever again. It was almost like the peaks, not really so important, but yeah, the steep declines into the valleys and stuff just had to be watched. Through the 2000s, I went through, I think the total count was 7 companies that closed while I was there, or sections that closed. And I felt through that period of my career that it was almost like a curse that I was taking around with me. And I learnt different things through different periods. But ultimately, if you're part of a company that is failing, you're going to be looking for another job relatively quickly, irrespective of the effort that you put in. One of these companies, I worked through Christmas and New Year to make sure the products came out, and by, I think, April, the company had shut. In fact, I was in Australia at the time, visiting my family, when the company disappeared. And early on, particularly when I came from the Bay Area to the UK, the emotion associated with these old companies, the Ericsson I worked for example, had been open for probably 20 years or so. And there had been people that had worked there for 20 years. And when that company closed, there were grown men sobbing. I'd never really seen anything like that. But yeah, just a lot of emotion, a lot of sadness associated with this company closing. My perspective was, oh yeah, I've seen that before. And it wasn't the last that I was going to see of that kind of stuff. But you start to realize through these experiences that you are actually learning very swiftly from these things occurring. And it doesn't mean that you can stop these things happening in the future, but at least you can make certain judgment calls that you'll think, okay, if this thing happens in the future, I know it's a pretty clear indication that things are only going to get worse. So I need to use this in my experience that if this occurs again, I need to have a mechanism not to follow the path that I followed before, but to escape in some way, to get out. And that, funnily enough, is the topic for a later Short Funk recording. Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.